Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. It is that time of year. It's around Halloween time, of course, we're going to go back and look at some Halloween Havocs from both WCW and NXT. But first up, seniority first, it's WCW's turn. Now, all four matches is because I do have four in total that I'm gonna review this month. Two from WCW and two from NXT. All four follow kind of a similar theme, that being the concept actually cooked up by WCW here: spin the wheel, make the deal. Now, how I actually didn't do it on purpose. It actually was a total accident. But now that it's here and now that it's in play, we're gonna compare who did spin the wheel, make the deal better. Was it WWE or was it NXT? We're gonna find out. But first is WCW's turn, and we're gonna start off with both a bang and a whimper because it's time to look at WCW Halloween Havoc 1992, who as Sting takes on Jake the Snake Roberts in a coal miner's glove match. Ooh, this should be a fun one. I, of course, am not a professional wrestling reviewer, analyst, or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, which was not here, unfortunately. Yeah, and it's kind of a shame because I know both these guys are capable of putting on a good to like decent match, but sadly not really here. And we'll get into it, obviously. So let's get into it. If you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm gonna be talking about what I liked and disliked about the match. Starting with what I liked. At least it was only 10 minutes. It's by match length standards, 10 minutes is thankfully not that long. At least they were gracious enough to put us out of our misery relatively quickly when it comes to this match. The match doesn't go that long, so that's definitely a plus in my book. And the promos leading up to this is including the WCW mini movies that they were doing. One being Sting and Jake Roberts shooting laser beams at each other. Take that, Superman and General Zod. I'm actually not sure if they shot laser beams at each other because it's been a while since I've seen Man of Steel. But yeah. So the promos leading up to this match, if anything, they're so goofy and absurd. Heard infamously some of the cheesiest stuff WCW's done, and maybe I'll review it at some point on the channel. But those promos were a lot more interesting than the match itself. But like I said, it is short. It's only 10 minutes. So thankfully it didn't go super duper long. But that being said, what I didn't like about the match was pretty much everything else. Unfortunately, like I said, both these guys are capable of putting on a good match. We know this. We've seen it before in the past, as not even if not necessarily here on the channel, just as with these two whose body of work. But this match was not it, and I think a lot of it has to come down to the stipulation, the coal miner's glove. So you may be wondering, Nigel, how did we get to the stipulation? And pretty much, the wheel decided it. It was, of course, spin the wheel, make the deal. Also, earlier on in the show, a wheel was brought out. How the wheel was spun. Sting spun the wheel. Well, sadly, he wasn't able to buy a vowel, but it landed on the coal miner's glove match. So the wheel spun and landed on the coal miner's glove match. So that's essentially what we had here. But yeah, the match just wasn't very interesting, and it was kind of boring. And pretty much the objective was that you climb up the pole. Oh no, this isn't a Vince Russo creation, I promise. But you climb up the pole, retrieve the coal miner's glove, and you can essentially hit your opponent with it. And the coal miner's glove, I kind of get it in theory. Because it is supposed to be heavy. Coal miner's glove is very heavy. So the blow by it is supposed to be heavy, But then again, so's a lot of the weapons that they hit each other with. So why not just have this be like a weapons match? Why not just have it be a regular match? Actually, I think a regular match would have worked as well. But because they have the gimmick, you gotta give them the gimmick. And again, they essentially have to work around this stipulation. Like it's a match that could have been, if it was just a regular match on its own, no spin the wheel or nothing. Or if you're gonna do spin the wheel, make the deal, give it to someone else. Preferably not the Cole Myers glove match. Have it land on something else. I do want to kind of read off the as to what was on the wheel. Well, the other potential options were a barbed wire match, a cage match, a dog collar match, a first blood match, an I Quit match, a lumberjacks with belts match, a Prince of Darkness match, a Russian chain match, a Texas bull rope match, or a Texas death match, and an option allowing Sting to choose the match type. Literally any of those other options probably would have been a lot more interesting, if we're being honest. But we got stuck with the Cole Myers glove, so we gotta do the Cole Myers glove. And like I said, I kind of get the concept. It's supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to hurt when you hit your opponent with it, but that's not really saying much when any other weapon will do the trick. At least with like the bull rope match, they're tied with the bull rope. They can whip each other or with it. There's some potential for blood. You can do like the touch the corners kind of stipulation, similar to what they would do with like Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, or like a recent example, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. But yeah, so not a very interesting stipulation, leads to a very dull match, and of course a snake is brought in because it's a Jake Roberts match. So of course there's a snake. But unfortunately, Jake is a victim of his own design, because the snake backfires on him and ends up biting him in quotation marks, because he pretty much has to like put the snake up to his face and get it to bite him. Thankfully, it's not as perverted or gross as when he did it at Heroes of Wrestling, but it still looked pretty cheesy. Cheesy way to end this very dull match. And this wasn't very interesting. And that's not a whole lot I can say about it. It's not the worst match I've ever seen. It's just very, very dull. And like I said, and I repeat it throughout, because, as I think it's definitely the case, the stipulation bogs it down. If this were any other match, the stipulation would be a non-factor at best, or a non-factor at worst, or it might amplify the match. A cage match probably would have worked. A dog collar match probably would have worked. For first blood match, I Quit match even, and even a Texas death match, which kind of give a spoiler, or the next time we visit WCW will be a Texas death match. So somebody spun the wheel successfully that night. But as for this night, yeah, this definitely was not it. But how will NXT fare here when we look at their match next week? We'll find out when we get there. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload videos, so you can see the drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the match and my review of the match. Did you like the match? Did you like my review of the match? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.